Hack your cart, make small talk, and take your time. These are some of the things that'll drive your Aldi cashier crazy. The cashiers at Aldi are so fast that they've often gotten your whole cart filled before you've managed to press all the right buttons to pay for your groceries, and there's a reason for that. According to what a former Aldi manager told Daily Mail, his store required employees to meet a quota of scanning 1,000 products per hour. That's one item every 3.5 seconds. They would reportedly get in trouble if they didn't scan quickly enough. Another employee claimed on Reddit that their store scanning speed requirement was a whopping 40 products per minute, which comes to one product every 1.5 seconds. Having a scanning quota keeps customers moving through checkout quickly without having to open more registers. And the fewer registers are open, the fewer employees Aldi has to hire. According to reports, not meeting your target speed 3 times could result in a termination. Not even the fastest cashiers are always able to reach those target numbers. If you're not ready to pay and move on, Aldi cashier speed can sometimes be intimidating. However, knowing that the cashier's job security depends on their speed should help you realize that they're not rushing you to be rude. With Aldi cashiers having to meet extremely fast checkout quotas, it's essential that they keep the line moving. If you're talking on the phone, you're less likely to pay attention to getting all your products on the belt and are more likely to fumble around while paying. One Aldi cashier admitted on Reddit that she scanned a second customer's complete order with the order of the person ahead of them when they didn't use a divider, and neither customer looked up from their phones to correct the situation. If you're on the phone, it can be more difficult to get your attention, and having to talk over your conversation to communicate with you can be frustrating. Etiquette expert Lisa Gross told the Chicago Tribune that having a personal conversation on the phone in a public place like the checkout line invades the privacy of people nearby, like your cashier, who can become distracted by the phone call while trying to scan at a rapid pace.
Hello! What? No, I'm in the supermarket! Supermarket!
Being on speakerphone is an even ruder habit. If you're in the middle of a phone conversation that you cannot miss, put it on hold for a few moments. After all, you want to be able to give the person on the other end of the call your full attention anyhow. When you don't have your cash or card ready at checkout, it can seriously slow down the checkout process for you, your cashier, and the person behind you in line. An Aldi's employee told Reddit that one of the things that slows them down the most is when people spend a lot of time digging through their bags to find their cash. Another employee said that some customers spend several minutes looking for their wallet only to realize they left it in the car. Then they want the cashier to wait for them to go get it. Meanwhile, the line is backed up all the way through the frozen food section and quotas aren't being met. Even if you have your wallet ready, not having your cash organized can stall the checkout process. If you take just a little time to organize your cash rather than cramming it into your wallet, payment will go much quicker. Another thing that slows down the line at Aldi is when you have a lot of bills and coins to count out. Don't pay an $80 order with singles, it's not a strip club. And paying $5 all in change is a weak move when it comes to respecting your Aldi cashier. Because both the customer and the cashier have to count out the money, it makes the line back up. Of course, you don't want a whole stack of $1 bills in your wallet, and sometimes you may end up raiding your piggy bank to be able to afford groceries. But if you have any choice at all, be kind to your fellow shoppers and the cashier and choose a faster payment method at Aldi. Something else to consider to keep the line moving is not making exact change if you don't have to. It's faster for the cashier to give you change than for you to dig through your bag for just one more penny. The cashier would much rather quickly make change for you. It's all about conveyor belt etiquette. First of all, and this should be common knowledge, you should be sure to place the divider between your order and the order ahead of or behind yours. Secondly, you should wait for the person in line ahead of you to finish placing all their items on the belt before you add yours. It's pretty basic stuff, but here's a reminder in case your manners are slipping.
No, don't bring them to me, just put them on the conveyor. No, back at the end. No, not in the basket. Put the beans down on the conveyor belt.
Using a divider prevents the cashier from having to void products that don't belong to you, or accidentally having something you wanted to buy slip away with another customer. At Aldi, if the price of voided items comes to more than $10, they have to call a manager to come up and turn a key, which wastes time for everyone involved. Of course, all this extra time spent not checking out customers also affects the cashier's stats for the time spent not scanning products. The problem with adding items to the belt before the person in front of you finishes relates to the way the belt movement works. The act of ringing up grocery items causes the belt to move forward. So if the person ahead of you is adding their items to the belt more slowly than you are, the belt may move up without room for the customer ahead of you to finish placing their items. Aldi harbors an extremely competitive work environment. According to The Sun, at least one assistant store manager tells potential employees that they should expect to work like robots if they get the job. An Aldi employee wrote anonymously on Quora to explain that they have only about 3 seconds between customers, according to their store rules and quotas. To manage this, the employee said, "Customers are hustled out like cattle. You don't have time to talk with them or make them smile. Sure, if there's nobody in line behind you, you could sheepishly comment on why you're only buying wine and snacks on a Friday night. However, you'll want to hold your chatter until after the cashier is done with their part of the transaction so they can get through all the scanning as quickly as possible without making any mistakes." The way that Aldi handles checkout makes it especially frustrating if you do all your shopping in bags rather than using a shopping cart. If you place all the items from your bag onto the conveyor belt, the cashier will place them into an empty cart at the end of the aisle, not back into your bags. The cashier just doesn't have time to bag stuff for you. If you stand around rebagging everything out of the cashier's cart or end up walking away with the cart without contributing yours to the cashier for the next purchase, you end up slowing checkout for the next person. And if you walk away with the cashier's cart when they don't have a backup cart, the cashier has to waste time going to get a new cart. One exasperated Aldi employee told Reddit, "I get so annoyed by all the people doing a week's worth of shopping with bags and not getting a cart. Anything more than like 10 items, get a damned cart. I'm not making a precedent of loaning them mine or by bagging their stuff." The way that the checkout process works at Aldi means that you don't end up taking the same cart out the door that you've been pushing around the store. You'll want to take your children out of the cart before the end of your purchase to make the cart switch off go more smoothly. Rather than juggle children, some parents try to switch out the cashier's cart with their own cart, which contains a child. Some Aldi cashiers don't mind if you quickly switch carts and leave a toddler in the child seat part of the cart. However, the problem comes when you leave children in the main part of the cart where the cashier has to be careful not to hit them with boxes and cans. If a cashier asks you to remove your children from the cart, they're not just being picky, it's for your children's safety. It can get rough out there in the checkout aisle. If it's not your first time visiting an Aldi, you should be familiar with the way that the cart acquisition and checkout process works. The carts are locked together. However, you can unlock them with a quarter that you will get back when you return the cart. And in case you're not familiar with why the cashier has an empty cart at the end of the checkout aisle, it's because that's where they put groceries after they scan them. Once the cashier's cart is full, it becomes your cart, and your now empty cart becomes the cashier's cart. Aldi says that this process helps to ensure quick and efficient service. However, if you steal a cashier's cart and make it your own, you upset the whole process. Even if it's close to closing time, it's no excuse to grab the cashier's cart. Aldi offers online shopping with grocery delivery or curbside grocery pickup available through Instacart, where customers can shop through Aldi's website or the Instacart mobile app. While you'd think that outsourcing grocery delivery and curbside pickup would make Aldi's employees' lives a little easier, it can make it more frustrating. Some personal shoppers from Instacart ask employees to help find half their order, while an Aldi employee is happy to help anyone in the store locate a couple of items. The fact that they don't have time to locate 20 items is why Aldi is outsourcing the job in the first place. One Aldi employee told Reddit that it can also be frustrating when Instacart personal shoppers have multiple orders and micromanage the way orders are scanned and arranged in a single cart. Another employee remarked, "If I have one more person shop a double and then wait till they get to checkout to sort it, I'm gonna lose my shit." Not all Instacart shoppers have bad habits, but Aldi employees lament that many tend to act entitled and really get in the way. So if you're an Instacart personal shopper, you can make Aldi employees' jobs easier to do if you try to be thoughtful in your shopping habits. If you're looking for a way to bypass paying a quarter to rent an Aldi cart, you can find a cart hack in which people simply wrap the cart connection chain all the way around to the back of the quarter receptacle. By locking the cart to itself, you trick the cart into thinking it's connected to another cart, causing the cart to return the quarter to you. Sometimes customers do it to save themselves a quarter, while others do it as a pay-it-forward deed. No matter the reason you might do it, the Aldi cart hack causes problems. Unfortunately, this trick is extremely frustrating because it's nearly impossible to unlock them, according to Aldi employees. One told Reddit, "We end up using those carts in the back and taking them off the sales floor, which is fine until we end up with 15 of them. You're really not being kind by making carts free. Plus, the real reason Aldi makes customers pay for shopping carts is to keep prices low. So it's ultimately in your best interest to use a quarter like everyone else." Aldi employees don't like when you remove produce or other items, including empty boxes, from their stocking pallets without asking them first. It's simple. The shelves are for shopping. Before an item is on the shelf, it's not for you. One Aldi employee wrote on Reddit, "It absolutely irritates me when people shop my cart or pallet, or when they stop me to get boxes. Listen, I don't care if you take my boxes, but don't dig through my pallet of boxes and make them all fall. Grab one from the shelf. I literally don't have time for you to slow me down." Another former employee said on Glassdoor that cashiers not only ring up groceries, but they are also responsible for unloading around 12 pallets of products per day. Aldi doesn't hire extra people to unload trucks, stock shelves, or do any cleanup. It's not that employees don't want to help you, it's just that when you interrupt the shelving process, it slows their progress.